And welcome, you're watching the biggest story tonight with me, Shavan said. Ladies and gentlemen, more trouble for the former Trinamool Congress parliamentarian Mahua Moitra. Not just the Central Bureau of Investigation, but also the Enforcement Directorate has now stepped in. It turns out that she has been summoned, asked to appear on the 19th of February. On this edition of the biggest story tonight, we bring back the focus on the cash for query scam. Remember, it is this query scam in which the Trinamool Congress parliamentarian was suspended. Serious allegations of impropriety has been levelled against Mahua Moitra. Tonight on this edition, we'll take you through some of the details emerging from the preliminary inquiry that has been done by the Central Bureau of Investigation. But up first, these are the headlines we are tracking for you at this hour. From Birbhum to South 24 Parganas, complete uproar in West Bengal over Sandeshkhali horror. No action against Trinamool Congress leaders accused of systematic mass rapes, but Mamata blames BJP and RSS now. Mahua Moitra summoned by the Enforcement Directorate in connection to a FEMA case, asked to appear on 19th of February. Supreme Court strikes down electoral bonds in a unanimous verdict, says scheme violates Constitution and RTI. As farmers' showdown continues, top leader tells the Republic the real motive is to corner BJP. Maharashtra Speaker rules in favour of Ajit Pawar faction, says that's the real NCP. Well, starting this edition of the biggest story tonight with some exclusive information coming in. We're getting a big lead in connection with the cash for query case where Republic has now accessed the affidavit of Jai Anand Dehadrai, who was the initial complainant in this particular case. Now, his statement to the Central Bureau of Investigation is scathing to say the least, where he makes a mention of the fact that the former Trinamool Congress parliamentarian Mahua Moitra passed sensitive information about the Bengal government to Darshan Hiranandani. Not only that, but confidential parliamentary materials were also handed over to Darshan Hiranandani. In fact, Jai Anand Dehadrai has mentioned that he has personally witnessed her accepting multiple luxury gifts and diamonds. And furthermore, Moitra has also allegedly used a card that was given to her by Darshan Hiranandani, allegedly for carrying out her shopping in Dubai. In fact, in the statement that has been given to the Central Bureau of Investigation, where we have gone through it, we are not going to put out the document that has been accessed, but only the contents of it that we are putting out right now. And quickly recap for all our viewers, we'll go back to the breaking news that's coming in right now. We'll break it down for all our viewers right now. Starting with the fact that there is a connection between Mahua Moitra and Darshan Hiranandani, where we're given to understand Jai Anand Dehadrai has spoken at length about the multiple meetings that actually took place between Darshan Hiranandani and Mahua Moitra, and he specifically says that to defame and to discredit Prime Minister Narendra Modi by persistently linking him to businessman Gautam Adani, chairman of Adani Enterprises, on the basis of fabricated allegations with help from foreign interests. He also goes on to say to weaken Prime Minister's leadership within the Indian government by destabilizing the Indian economy on the basis of a false narrative that Indian institutions such as regulators and the judiciary are in jeopardy. In fact, he also goes on to talk about the fact that there were questions that were posed by Mahua Moitra on the floor of the parliament at the behest of a top politician belonging to a regional political party, whom we are now given to understand. My sources within the Central Bureau of Investigation suggest that the top politician from a regional political party is likely to be called in for questioning very soon. And my sources within the Enforcement Directorate has already indicated that they have come across foreign exchange violations. which is exactly why the former Trinamool Congress parliamentarian Mahua Moitra has been called in for questioning. Now, the response that came in from Ms. Mahua Moitra was laughable, to say the least, because she says that there were no violations that have taken place. She says that there were no protocol to begin with that was placed. We'll just go on air right now with all the details that we have accessed, the affidavit that has been accessed, given to the Central Bureau of Investigation by Jai Anand Dehadra. We'll also bring in my colleague, our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor, who will help us break it down for us. Of the details that we have. Let me go on air right now with putting out those details that we have. Now, the connections that are emerging. First, with regards to Darshan Hiranandani. Second, it is with regards to a connection that is emerging with a top politician belonging to a regional party. We're not naming him as yet simply because of the fact that his statement is yet to be recorded by the Central Bureau of Investigation. My sources within the agency, Abhishek, has essentially indicated that that's going to happen very soon. In fact, they've been able to complete the procedure with almost all the stakeholders put together. But some of the aspects that I want to perhaps highlight from this affidavit that has been accessed, one with regards to the fact that where this top politician belonging to the regional political party categorically makes a mention of the fact that there is not a single corruption charge that has been leveled against the Prime Minister. So somewhere down the line, one will have to manufacture these allegations against the Prime Minister, and perhaps the best way to do is through Adani. But what one forgot here is the fact that you are bringing in an arch rival of the Adani enterprise, Mr. Hiranandani. Here, Jai Anand Dehadra, Abhishek, clearly says that he's got evidence to the fact that expensive gifts were given to Mahua Moitra for asking those questions on the floor of the parliament.
So first up, Shawan, a caveat. The caveat is that Jai Anand Dehadra, a lawyer, also happens to be an ex-friend, partner, lover, whatever you pick, of Mahua Moitra. So to that extent, does he qualify as a jilted lover? But more importantly, now coming to the allegations or the charges, specific charges he's making by this, through this affidavit before the CBI against Ms. Mahua Moitra. You know, he has already made some of those allegations / charges already. But what is added now is some specifics. So, for example, the role of Pinaki Mishra in guiding Mahua Moitra vis-a-vis making attacks on Prime Minister and his government using Adani Group as a handle, and the role of Hiranandani in financing it, in fine-tuning it, in suggesting ideas, writing questions. Remember, we did that story at that time, Mahua Moitra asking about 70-odd questions, which subsequently became part of the Parliament's Ethics Committee probe, and she was ultimately expelled. So obviously there is no smoke without fire, and hence, irrespective of the ex-status of Mr. Jai Anand Dehadra as ex of Ms. Mahua Moitra, the fact is that he has been eyewitness to many of these meetings and private occasions in which he has seen Mahua Moitra and Pinaki Mishra and also Darshan Hiranandani speaking to each other, maybe because they were friends at that time, so there might have been lowering of guard, and you can expect that much of these allegations could be substantially true. Obviously, it would be a matter of investigation by the CBI now that the statement of Mr. Jai Anand Dehadra is there with them. But the facts like Hiranandani guiding Mahua Moitra with the questions, Pinaki Mishra advising Mahua Moitra to use it to attack Prime Minister directly and the government, right, and then to buttress her claims as a leader of the Trinamool Congress, and then tidbits like she was very unhappy with Abhishek Banerjee or did not like Abhishek Banerjee, but she found Mamata Banerjee honest, but Abhishek Banerjee corrupt and dishonest or something. I mean, obviously, all those things would come out in public domain, but ultimately for the CBI to investigate. Well,
in fact, in a short while from now, Abhishek, I'm going to also put out some more details that I picked up from my sources in both the agencies. But before I do that, some scathing remarks have also been made, but I would largely say that while you were saying, yes, there is a caveat that you brought in, but this is also about the fact that a long-term association that Jai Anand Dehadra had with the former parliamentarian. For the Central Bureau of Investigation, they will perhaps have to take this on face value till the time they are in a position to corroborate it. But take a look at some of the statements that he has made. He says that Ms. Mahua Moitra was using him for money, both to finance her political ambitions and also to fund her lavish lifestyle, and he was using her to further his business interest in India by gaining access to sensitive insider information and to develop political connections in opposition-ruled states. So what Jayant Dehadra is essentially also trying to do is perhaps, put across the multiple meetings that took place between a top politician belonging to a regional political party and Mahua Moitra. There's a larger scheme that is put into place, and the very fact that Mahua Moitra had ambitions of taking over the Trinamool Congress as per the allegation that has been levelled against Jayant Dehadra. So for the CBI also, Abhishek, it's going to be very important to see whether at all there is some quid pro quo or not. He says, yes, there is quid pro quo. Jayant Dehadra says that, in fact, there are transactions that have taken place. Now with the Enforcement Directorate saying that, yes, there is a foreign exchange violation, it is going to be more trouble for her. But coming back to her position, she says, Abhishek, there was no protocol in the first place. Logins do not matter. Almost all parliamentarians allowed their personal assistant to do it. So how does it really matter if it is Darshan Hiranandani?
Well, it matters, and that's the reason why she has been expelled as a member of parliament by the Ethics Committee of Parliament, Shravan. But within the framework of the caveat that I mentioned about Jayant Dehadra and his status with Mahua Moitra, the fact of the matter is, as I was mentioning, that he has been a witness to many of these meetings. He has been privy to a lot of conversation that Mahua Moitra has directly had with him. And the fact that it's possible that she, in some boast, including some boast, was mentioning some truths, some facts also. It's not difficult to believe that given the corporate rivalry between the group of Hiranandanis and Adani Group, that there was an element of quid pro quo, and to that extent, in this affidavit, for example, Jay mentions the quid pro quo ranging to the tune of about 75 crore rupees, and the fact that her expenses of election from her constituency in Bengal were partly, substantially, we don't know, but taken care of by the Hiranandani group. So all those things are something which, of course, the CBI, and as you said, there is a money laundering in angle, so the Enforcement Directorate would be investigating, looking into. But what the affidavit provides by way of information is something which can act as a good beginning point for the agencies to pick up from.
Well, shifting focus now, also getting in some more breaking news in connection with the cash for query scam earlier this morning. We're given to understand by way of sources within the Central Bureau of Investigation that Darshan Hiranandani was reportedly examined twice. Let's put out that breaking news coming in. He was examined twice by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Top sources have also informed that another top politician is likely to be summoned by the central agency. A quick recap before we move to the other big story coming in from the state of Tamil Nadu. This is with regards to the cash for query scam, where the Central Bureau of Investigation is essentially in the preliminary inquiry going through all the stakeholders. We are given to understand that they are in the process of almost completing it. Once the statement of a top politician belonging to a regional political party, his statement is recorded by the Central Bureau of Investigation. The PE, which is the preliminary inquiry, could actually be converted into an FIR, which would certainly be more trouble for Mahua Moitra, because there is a high possibility that the former Trinamool Congress parliamentarian could be made an accused in this particular case. So far, Jayant Dehadra has already been examined by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Apart from that, we are also being told that some close associates were actually called in for questioning by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Now, the big twist also coming in, the Enforcement Directorate has also now summoned Mahua Moitra on the 19th of February. We'll be tracking the story very, very closely as more developments take place. Shifting focus now to the other story we're getting you, the big exclusive coming in from Tamil Nadu, where in an exclusive conversation, rather this was a question that was posed by Republic TV's Varshini to the DMK MLA, who has now accused the Tamil Nadu government, who's essentially been accused of freeing 3 terrorists who were serving life term in a murder case. Now, the terrorists, namely Basha Hamid and Jagir, have been granted premature release. Now, the premature release that has taken place is in the case of, it's a murder case, but remember, the same people have been accused for the 1998 Coimbatore blast case. That is the reason why the BJP has now taken on the DMK, raising questions about whether at all the DMK government is once again indulging in what the BJP calls terror appeasement. We posed this question to the DMK legislator a short while back as to whether at all the government is bucking under some sort of a pressure, and why exactly would they be granted premature release. Listen in to what the DMK legislator had to say.
No, actually, it's very clear when the state government has to get the concurrence of the union government in high-profile cases before release. So I think the scrutiny is not only within the purview of the state, it is also a purview of the union government. So union government has undergone an exercise of the various recommendations made. So it's a combined exercise. I think BJP is doing politics regarding it. It's their union government. They have done their scrutiny and they are given their recommendations because there's an order from the union government, especially in high-profile cases. Without the concurrence of the union government, state government can't release them. So I think it's just politics BJP is making out. They are the union government and they're doing the politics regarding this.
But when a resolution was passed in the Tamil Nadu Assembly for the premature release on humanitarian grounds because they have been in the prison for a really long time, the BJP did oppose it and say they're not supporting.
In Assembly, BJP is a state unit, right? But the decision makers are at the center. So the union government has had its own procedural scrutiny before giving its recommendation. Without the concurrence of the union government home department, how could a state government can release, especially in this situation? State government pressurized and sent a list. The union government has done a scrutiny. So it is a combined exercise. I think BJP, as usual, is playing its politics in this issue.
And last year, the Supreme Court also rejected the bail petition of the 16 convicts of this particular Coimbatore blast, 1998 blast. But still, the Tamil Nadu government has, advised.
Yeah, actually, you should see on the holistic picture, especially after the high-profile case from Pereri Balan and people who have been in prisons for a longer time. Since we have moved away from the capital punishment towards the lifetime imprisonment, I think it's a routine exercise, and BJP is trying to color a religious picture to it. No, actually, it's very clear when the state government has to get the concurrence of the union government in high-profile cases before release. So I think the scrutiny is not only within the purview of the state, it is also a purview of the union government. So union government has undergone an exercise of the various recommendations made. So it's a combined exercise. I think BJP is doing politics regarding it. It's their union government. They have done their scrutiny and they are given their recommendations because there's an order from the union government, especially in high-profile cases. Without the concurrence of the union government, state government can't release them. So I think it's just politics BJP is making out. They are the union government and they're doing the politics regarding this.
But when a resolution was passed in the Tamil Nadu Assembly for the premature release on humanitarian grounds because they have been in the prison for a really long time, the BJP did oppose it and say they're not supporting.
In Assembly, BJP is a state unit, right? But the decision makers are at the center. So the union government has had its own procedural scrutiny before giving its recommendation. Without the concurrence of the union government home department, how could a state government can release, especially in this situation? State government pressurized and sent a list. The union government has done a scrutiny. So it is a combined exercise. I think BJP, as usual, is playing its politics in this issue.
And last year, the Supreme Court also rejected the bail petition of the 16 convicts of this particular Coimbatore blast, 1998 blast. But still, the Tamil Nadu government has, advised.
Yeah, actually, you should see on the holistic picture, especially after the high-profile case from Pereri Balan and people who have been in prisons for a longer time. Since we have moved away from the capital punishment towards the lifetime imprisonment, I think it's a routine exercise, and BJP is trying to color a religious picture to it.
Let me also bring in my colleague Varshini, who's also reached out to the victims of the Coimbatore blast, and at the same time, questions are also being raised about the motive behind releasing the terrorists. The DMK government seems to be bracing it out, Varshini. What is it that the officers whom you spoke to, what is it that they have to say? They're saying that this is not linked to the Coimbatore blast. It's a technical reason that has been given by them.
Absolutely, yes, Shravan. That is precisely what the DMK is trying to paint a picture about in this particular scenario of releasing these three convicts, because these convicts, though they have been convicted by the courts in the 1998 Coimbatore blast case, they still have other cases upon them, like they have a life imprisonment in a murder case, in a communal murder case which happened between two communal groups, and that is the case where the premature release has been given for these three convicts, and that is exactly why the reason is also being said as this is not related to the blast case. But still, these three people are, linked to the Coimbatore blast, and that is why the question is also being raised by the state unit of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and that is why the BJP state president Annamalai, when he spoke to us, he also spoke about how this is appeasement politics, because the timing is just right ahead of the Lok Sabha polls. This issue is happening, which means the DMK is looking at the votes that they can garner from this particular release that they are currently doing. Therefore, that is the issue currently ongoing, but the DMK government and the Tamil Nadu Assembly is still sticking to its point where they say that this is no way related to the Coimbatore blast case. But also, what is notable is that there have been several attempts made by the very same DMK government to ensure that 16 convicts in the Coimbatore blast case are being released on basis of humanitarian grounds, and they're constantly trying, and their attempts are also on the way. So we'll have to wait and watch what else is the DMK planning to go ahead with this.
Well, in fact, it hasn't really cut the ice with the Bharatiya Janata Party. We have spoken to the BJP state chief, Annamalai. This is what he had to say.
It's very unfortunate the DMK government is trying its best to release 16 convicts in the infamous Coimbatore bomb blast. And they're doing everything within their part to get this done before the Lok Sabha election, just to get a brownie point. We all know February 14, 1998, the day is etched in the memories of Coimbatore people and Tamil Nadu, because Tamil Nadu has never seen a bomb blast of that order. 58 people killed, more than 200 people injured, bombs found in 24 other locations. It was squarely aimed at L.K. Advaniji or Bharat Ratna. And luckily, with God's grace, Advaniji escaped. Unfortunately, innocent people who have got nothing to do, they all got killed on that day. Now, it instant happened during the government of DMK. Now, DMK tried everything within its power to release the convicts at different points of time against people's opinion. In 2009, November 7, they released 9 convicts of this case. Cho Ramasamiji, a great writer and ideologue, he mentioned, this act is equal to a government of the day acting as a patron of a terror organization.
On the other side, Supreme Court strikes out electoral bonds in a unanimous verdict, says scheme violates Constitution and RTI.